Hey guys, Dino here. I know I haven't made a video in a while. Finally got around to doing it. Been really busy with real life. Today we're going to be going over some advanced tips and tricks for your tank witch doctor. The most common question I get is, Dino, I've really like your gear. I really like your spec. I've gone to the level that you have, but I'm still dying fairly often. And hopefully in this video it can shed some light on some tips in order to keep your tank spec alive a little bit longer and survive in the way that I do. The spec is really gear dependent, but it's also very skill reliant. You can't just get the gear and think you're gonna, auto attack and win. There's some skill involved in it. And you have to have the knowledge of the different mob types and everything you're facing, and this video will kind of display those. You can apply these tips to any act. I'm going to show off Act 2 probably because it's going to apply to the most base of the people who watch these videos. If I do 3 and 4, not everybody is in those, but you can apply these same tricks to those videos. This is a good mob type to start off with. These guys are a pain in the butt, and as you can see, I have tons of resist and life on hit and armor and all that stuff, but these things still hit me pretty hard, and that's because of that fire attack that they place under you. Hits hard in just about any ability I know in these acts. One thing I do is a lot of people try to run a 4 cooldown build, and they try to do the same things I do with a 4 cooldown build, which is really difficult because it means you have to use Spirit Walk to keep Vision Quest active, and you kind of want to save Spirit Walk. It's your oh crap ability. It'll get you out of a lot of different really bad situations you can see in this video. This is going to be a particularly challenging pack because I've actually got 2 champ packs here and these really annoying mob types. So what I'm going to focus on is trying to save my Spirit Walk for those different situations. Spirit Walk is a huge piece of why this build works. It's the most overpowered ability we have for tanking, so you're going to want to maximize on that. Also, you try to keep Horrify up as often as you can. That 100% armor buff is a really big boost. We did some questions on that on the stream the other day. How much does it boost your actual damage reduction? And the damage reduction percentage is actually about 16%. That's with the amount of armor I have. When it doubles it, it gives me a 16% increase, but it really feels a lot more significant than that, so you want to pop it on cooldown. As you can see here, I'm staying out of those fire things. I'm putting up DPS all over the place wherever I can, and I'm just trying to focus on the non-visions. I don't really care about DPS and the visions down. They're going to go away on their own, so I want to keep as much DPS as I can on the actual real ones, and you can tell which ones are real by the amount of health that they have. I'm in a pretty bad spot there. I want to dodge some frozen, want to get out of the arcane orb, so I'm going to go ahead and pop my Spirit Walk, and I'm just saving it for these different situations. The one mistake you don't want to do is you don't want to try to pop Spirit Walk and your Horrify buff at the same time, because they're 2 very powerful buffs that you don't want to waste using both of them. Just trying to stay out of the fire as much as I can. I can stand in a little bit and take a little bit of it, but I can't take too much of it and risk being frozen in it or getting stuck with an arcane orb as well. This is actually really bad. I'm frozen and I can't cast any of my abilities. That's why I have Spirit Vessel, is because sometimes you're going to get in those spots where you're going to die, and that Spirit Vessel will save you. But life goes on. That's why we have the buff. Now we just have to be a little bit more cautious. In this scenario, I'm going to let Frozen hit me, and that's because I could just break out of it. I do that very, very often. I don't actually try to dodge the Frozen. I'll let it hit me. That's because I can just break it. In that scenario right there, I had to move because I don't have Spirit Walk to save me, and there's too many things I can get caught in here and risk dying. Pop my buffs, move a little bit. Another thing I surprisingly don't move out of very often is Arcane, and that's because it's one of my favorite abilities. I just got frozen there. You'll see me had Spirit Walk up. I was able to get out of there. And the reason I really like Arcane is because it's a really easy, it's not that damaging. If you stand in it, it's really damaging, but that's why I have things like, oh man, we got Rage, so we're gonna have to deal with that. sorry for the lack of talking, just gotta concentrate a little bit. Enrages are really not that hard. You can live through them for quite a while. It's going to be particularly challenging on this group just because of how much damage this group is capable of doing. But we can live through it. We're just going to have to focus more on trying to DPS those mobs down. Fire can get really dangerous. We're going to stand out of it, try to regen a bit of life. Get our life on hit going here. We're going to move back to near this health orb. It can be, I've said in previous videos, it can be really good to save these. I'll let Frozen hit me that time. The reason it's good to save those is because they can be some emergency health, like we need it in this situation, bam. Saved it and have some emergency health for when we really needed it. We may just pull this out. We got one of them down. Let's see if we can get that other one. Oh man, we got all of them. So we did hit Enrage. It took a little bit, but with some careful practice and play, and even Enrage timers, we were able to down it. So I didn't realize we downed the archers already, but I think it can get pretty intense. I did have to stop talking there for a little bit and focus on it, but it wasn't that bad. It was a little bit challenging. We like a challenge. It's just managing your cooldowns. You want to pop everything at once and waste everything, and I highly recommend a 5 cooldown build so you can save your spirit vessel for those oh crap moments. It's just such a powerful ability with the fact that it's able to break you out of everything, and it really benefits your life on a hit because you can stand there pretty much with an invulnerability and you're at 25% life, and by the time it ends you're back at 100%. So it's just about managing cooldowns to the best of your ability. Let's see if we might find another pack. And for those who don't know, this is actually a different gear set than I have posted on the forums. I really need to update that picture. This gear isn't necessarily better than my old set. It's kind of just a rearrangement of stats. I didn't do it because it's better than the old set. I actually sold a lot of my gear in the RMAH. I knew I wasn't going to be able to play for about a week there, a little bit more. So I went and tested the AH waters, wanted to try to get some cash before the market crashed, and it worked. So I made a couple $100. I'm going to make another video about how you can make some money on the RMAH as well. You won't be able to make as much anymore because the market is crashing so quickly, but hopefully I can get it out in the next day, maybe even tonight if I work real hard, and you guys can make some cash before the market completely crashes. But I was able to make some real money. I went and bought gold. Gold is really cheap, so I bought gold with some of the money I earned, and found a guy who sold me an entire gear set for 65 million, which is expensive, of course. I know you guys aren't at the 65 million mark, so, but I don't use that set. I actually turned around and resold that gear on the RMAH, so I made about 40 million back of the 60 million from some of the pieces, and then another $300 to $400 off the RMAH. So I spent about $120 on the gold in order to buy the set, and then I turned around and made that $120 back and an extra $280 in profit, and got 40 million actual gold. So it's a really good deal, and I spent 18 million on this set, so it gives you a good idea of how much I spent for this set. It wasn't terribly expensive. I think 18 million is really easily attainable, especially with the different drop rate changes that we've made to the different acts. It shouldn't be too hard to accumulate that gold. You should be able to at least make a couple million a night with some decent farming runs. Of course, there's nights like I had last night where I only made, I think I only made maybe $1 million, if that. It was a pretty bad farm night, but makes up for the other really good one I had the other night. I made about 20 to 30 million in just a couple hours. Right now I'm doing Act 2 runs. It's kind of my focus. In the next couple weeks I'm going to save up some gold. I might transition to a DPS build. I'm not tired of my tank build. It's still a great build, but I want to be able to make more varied videos than just pigeonholing myself to the niche of tanking. I'll be able to show off some of that. The DPS. It's going to be a tanky DPS build. I think I'm going to go ahead and use the Dire Bats one that's been floating around out there, test that out. It's just really gear dependent, more so than probably any other build, and gonna cost quite a few million, so I'll have to save quite a bit for it. These minions have lower HP, and their fire damage is pretty brutal, so we're gonna focus on getting them down first. That's another thing you guys should do is, you want to focus down on priority targets. If you end up pulling 2 packs, you want to pull the pack that's deadlier, not necessarily the abilities that do more damage. So for example, last pack we did, I should have had a little bit more focus when I was pulling it to begin with, but I wanted to kill the Frozen, because Frozen's going to kill you more than anything. The reason being is because if you get caught in a Frozen or in some scenario where you're forced to use your Spirit Walk and then you don't have it up and get frozen again, it's going to kill you. Same thing with Fear or any type of CC. If you're unable to get your life on hit returns or cast your other abilities, you're going to be in a really tight spot. So you want to try to DPS those targets down. These ones, since multiple of them can cast the fires and stack them, that's why you end up taking so much damage so quickly. I want to focus on killing the little ones quickly and getting it to the point where I only have 1 fireball going down to my feet, and I can tank that with pretty much impunity. So now I've got all the adds down, I only have 1 fire stack underneath me, and I'm able to just sit there and eat it. The only reason I'm moving now is to get in range. These mob types right here, the walking spiders, whatever the heck you want to call them, they're the most annoying mob types in the game to me because they do so much damage and they just keep moving and running the whole time, so they can just be a huge pain to kill. I don't need to use Spirit Walk, but there's a low risk of me dying, so I'm going to use it there for a cooldown. I don't want to have to use Horrify because I've stated in my previous videos, I just do not like chaos, and Horrify creates so much chaos with the mobs running in a direction that I don't want them to, and it's gotten me killed more often than it's helped me if I do that, so. So if the boss isn't anywhere near me, go ahead and use Fear there. Allow me to save my Spirit Walk. Shielded, so since he's shielded, I'm going to shift my targets. I've got all these adds that are spawning, that's why I don't kill these those pillars right there. I want more life on hit targets. The more life on hit targets you have, and if they're not doing much damage to you because they're just these white crappy mobs, then you might as well have them out and have more life on hit targets to hit when you have a shielding mob that doesn't allow you to get life back. Another really good tactic is if you have something like shielding where you're not getting life on hit back because they've got all their shield pops and you really need an emergency heal, you can either go to another another mob pack and get that from them. I do that quite often. I'll pull a lot more than I really need to in order to have extra targets for life on hit. It's because the only ones that are doing actual damage to you are going to be the champ packs anyways, so you might as well just have those white mobs hitting you. There's of course some exceptions with the skeletons in Act 3, but ever since they toned the game down with the nerfs, there's no real white mobs that are extremely dangerous to you anymore. We could probably tank it, but it's just not advisable. We had 3 Desecrates on top of us in one spot. We're going to go ahead and move. And boom, got him down. We're up to 5 stacks relatively quickly. I don't know if you guys know about this, but the Vault of the Assassin, every time you go in here, there's like a million champ packs in there. So if you want to go to an area which has a ton of champ packs, get some stacks quickly, and go kill a bunch of champions, I would recommend that place. There are just so many in here. Might have been, I wasn't counting, that's the 5th or 6th one, and there's still a bit of the area to explore, so you have a good chance of running the more. my stats real quick. Average of probably 850 resist. I've got 3 of them at 808 and another 3 at 886. Blocks at 32%, dodge at 20, and maximum life is pretty high, up at 75,000. DPS is still only at 10,500 unbuffed. DPS is just not a huge priority with the tank build. You're going to be able to deal out quite a bit of damage just because you're able to sit there and you don't have to kite or do anything like that. So these ones are Nightmare. A lot of times I'll use my Spirit Walk to break out of the Nightmare, and that's because I can't stand being feared, so you can break out of it really quickly and run back in. Gives you some free seconds of DPS without running away. Now if you have MF, you want to switch to it, a good thing to do is to save your Spirit Walk for when they get really low, and when they get really low on life, you pop Spirit Walk and change to your MF gear, so that way you don't have to worry about dying and getting it on. I think that's it, guys. I'll go ahead and wrap this video up. Don't want to get it too long. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the forums or in the comments, and I'll address them. Go ahead and put some bullet points. If you can, run a 5 cooldown build. That way it allows you to save Spirit Walk for those oh crap situations. There are so many different viable abilities out there. It doesn't kind of matter what you use for a tank build. You can use the Acid Cloud Bears build, however it is you want to do it. But if you can, somehow try to work 5 cooldowns into your build, so that way it'll allow you to save Spirit Walk. It's such a powerful cooldown. Try to save it for when you're low HP. You can regen your life to full really quickly with some life on hit. Try to use it in scenarios where you're frozen. I didn't get to do a good example of it on the Arcane, but I kind of stand in Arcane beams. I don't really navigate them unless I have to, and then when multiple of them are about to intersect, so I've got 2 or 3 beams about to intersect, I'll pop it at that moment, so that way it completely negates the damage to all 3 beams. That's why I really like Arcane. You can take the damage pretty much from 1 beam alone, but multiple beams is going to shred through you really fast. So try to save it for there's multiple beams. Just eat 1, use a potion if you have to, but multiple beams pop at the same time and bam, it's going to save your life. So try not to fear mobs when they're in melee range if you can. You run out, use Horrify, run back in. If you have to, it's a really good emergency ability as well. Just pop it on cooldown, and if you have Spirit Walk down, it's another ability that you want to save. So you just kind of alternate back and forth between the two to have oh crap cooldowns, and you always have something up for an emergency situation. So have a good day.